In the past video, we used this summing amplifier to experiment with two different DC sources to see what they look like. But in this video, I'll be showing you how to run multiple AC waveforms and view their output using a simple summing amplifier. And first, we'll get started with a simple sine wave. And as you can see, I have the same setup as last time, except I just added another voltage source here. So same summing amplifier setup, same resistor values, but with 3 sources instead of 2. So starting with the sine wave, simply right-click on the voltage source, and this time, instead of putting a DC value, simply go to Advanced. And here you'll be given a list of options to choose from. Simply just hit Sine. And now you can change your sine wave parameters. So it's all pretty self-explanatory here. And I'm actually just going to run it with a 0 offset, 1 volt amplitude, and a frequency of 10 hertz. So you don't need to set the cycles for this. It's just going to run periodically. And if I were to, let's say, simply have DC values for these sources just to see what they'd look like, and if I run a transient simulation for 10 seconds and run it, we can see that we have a sine wave, a decent sine wave output. If I zoom in, we can see that the sine wave's there. Cool. All right, so now we're gonna build things up a bit by making a square wave. And as you can see, I have this nice little guide here to kind of walk you through what I'm doing, but I'll go through it in the source as well. So right click the source you want to select. I'm going to click Advanced, and this time I'm going to go to Pulse. And so here you have a few different options, and you do need to fill all of these out. I think all of these out except for delay, and we'll get to that in a sec, to actually get the output you want. So initial you can think of as your starting voltage, so what voltage you want to start at. You can have your waveform start at 0 or some other voltage. In this case, I'm going to have my square wave start from -1, and it's going to go to, I guess, what I like to call the end voltage or the on voltage. And I want my square wave to go from -1 to 1, and so I'm going to choose this value to be 1, and then I'm going to add a delay, which is essentially my delay per period. So that the time between the start of the end of the first square wave to the start of the next one. And I don't want a delay, so I'm just going to leave that blank. And now I'm going to place a very small value for the rise and the fall time because it's a square wave, so we wanted to essentially start instantaneously. And to do that, I'm going to choose a very small time value, and I'm going to make that 1 nanosecond for the rise and the fall time. And then I'm going to actually skip the on period. So how long is that square wave at that on voltage for? Until we get to the period, which is the next one. So your period is essentially dictated by the frequency of your square wave. And I want to run my square wave at a frequency of 2 hertz. And so I'm simply going to do 1 over 2. And so in this case, I'm going to put my period to be 0.5. And now for your on voltage. So this is essentially dependent on your duty cycle, how long you want your square wave to be on for. And I chose, and just to kind of choose an ideal square wave, I'm going to make my duty cycle 50%. So I want to be on for half the period and off for the other half the period. And in this case, I'm just going to multiply my T on, but I'm just going to multiply my period by my duty cycle. And so I get 0.25. So I get a square wave with a duty cycle of 50%. And then I'm going to choose a number of cycles I want this to run. So in this case, I'm going to choose 20. And you get this nice output here after you click enter. And I'm actually going to move it slightly to the left just so you can see it in its entirety along with the sine wave. And now if I run this, we see that we have a nice square wave with a duty cycle of 50%. And as we can see that as at 1 second, we have 2 cycles indicating we have a frequency of 2 hertz. So 2 cycles per second. Cool. So that's working. All right, so now we're going to go to a triangle wave, and the triangle wave actually has the same parameters as the square wave. You'll be changing the same things, but now we're going to be tweaking them slightly to get that nice triangle wave signal. So again, clicking on the voltage source I want, going to advanced, and then I'm going to be going back to pulse, and I'm going to be setting the same parameters. So initial and on voltage is essentially your start and your end voltages. And I'm going to be choosing a value of -1 to 1 again. and I don't want any delay between my waves, so I'm not going to leave that blank. And I'm going to leave T rise, T fall, and T on until we get blank, until we get to the period. And so here I want, and similar to the square wave, the triangle wave's period is also dependent on its frequency. And so in this case, I want it to run at a frequency of 0.5 hertz. And so I'm going to be doing 1 over 0.5, which would get me 2, and choosing a cycle for about, I'm going to make this 20 cycles as well. All right, so now back to the T rise and the T fall time. So because it's a triangle wave, you essentially want it to increase for half the period and decrease for the other half of that period. And so I'm simply going to multiply the period by a half. So in this case, I'm rising for 1 second and I'm falling for another. And so that's how you get that nice symmetric increase and decrease that's characteristic with a triangle wave. And the other key parameter here is that our T on voltage, the time at which our triangle is at 1 volt, is 0. So it's essentially going to be at 1 volt instantaneously. So it instantly starts to decrease, which is how you also get that kind of that pointy end of the triangle wave essentially. And again, no delay, so I'm just going to click OK. And just to make sure everything's great, I'm going to run it again. And if I should run it, we should get this nice periodic triangle wave with a period of 2 seconds. If I compare this with the square wave, that works as well. And the sine wave, that works too. Cool. All right, so now if I were to look at the output of my summing amplifier, we can see that we have the characteristic contributions of each waveform of each source that we've applied, and we can see that we have the triangle wave. And if I were to view the waveforms independently, we'd see this as well. So here's a triangle wave, the square wave, and the sine wave. So our summing amplifier is working great. All right, so now what if we wanted to make a sawtooth wave, which is the same as a triangle wave, except it's increasing in one direction and going straight down, or it's straight down and then it's just decreasing in one direction. So it's essentially, think of it like half of a triangle wave, essentially. It's similar to the triangle wave, but you just need to make, and I'm going to actually go back to the waveform for this, you just need to make either the T rise or the T fall time very small values. So in this case, I'm going to make T rise incredibly small, and then you need to set the other one equal to the period. And so this basically means you have an instantaneous rise, but that decrease lasts for the duration of your entire wave, of your entire signal. And so you get that nice characteristic sawtooth, decreasing sawtooth. And if I were to flip this, you get that characteristic increasing sawtooth. And we can try that both ways. So if I save that for now and I run it, we see that we get this sawtooth that decreases with time. And if I were to flip them, we see that it flips. And that's basically how you're able to make a bunch of different AC waveforms in LTSPICE.